rock stars, roadies, or groupies were harmed in the making of this broadcast. Giving it to you straight and no chaser. This is On the Rocks with Jamie Wilson. Hey, welcome to On the Rocks. I'm Jamie Wilson. We have a great show tonight. I'm so excited for our guest tonight because I think it's our first repeat guest. We're having her back on the show because I want to spend more time talking with her this time around. But before we get to that, of course, we have a few announcements from Offshore Music. Ena Mori's new single, Oh Bleeding Hearts, will be available tonight at midnight, September 9th, on all major streaming platforms. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to be hearing more about this new album tonight from her. And of course, tomorrow is also the Offshore 9/9 sale. You can get 50% discounts on selected items. And of course, the new single by Sulo, Anak ng Bayan, is still available on all streaming platforms, along with Alive at Wildgrass Studio by Extrapolation, also available on all streaming platforms. So make sure to check this new music out. We'd like to say thank you also to Buenos Panaderia. And Misty Mountain Cafe, thank you so much for the happiness you bring me every week. We've got Milo buns and premium blended coffee. It's the most amazing thing in the world. And of course, we've got an announcement from Liquor.ph. Your favorite American liquors live strong at Liquor.ph during the month of September because it's Bourbon Heritage Month. All September long, they have some of your favorite craft American spirits aggressively discounted with up to 30% off on bundles and 15% off on individual bottles. You can get Frank's favorites, the USA bundle, which has Elijah Craig Small Batch, Evan Williams 1783, and Larceny bourbons for only 4,140 pesos, which used to cost 6,000 bucks, man. So that's a big discount. Or you can get a bottle of the Mellow Corn straight whiskey. That's what I'm drinking tonight, man. This stuff is strong. And hey, they've given you such a big discount from 1,020 pesos. It's only 1,020 pesos from 1,200 bucks. So, these deals will not last forever. So get it before it ends, man. Only from our friends from Liquor.ph. Okay, so tonight we have, I think, one of the most exciting artists, new artists that are coming out right now. She's about to release her new album at midnight tonight. And I want to hear more about her process. I want to hear more about how she maintains her inspiration and her creativity, because the stuff that she's been putting out are incredible. And I can't wait for this new release. So let's bring her on right now. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ena Mori.
Hi, Jamie.
Hello, Ena. How are you?
It's good to be here again. I'm so excited to be here. The
I'm
last
I'm
time
so
it was like choppy. It wasn't really a good one. I'm happy that I have a stable internet now. Yeah.
well. I'm so happy we're in the same time zone at least. Because you're
Yes.
you're back here in Manila, and of course we want to wish you a happy birthday. It was just your birthday,
Thank you so much.
so
Yeah, it
happy
was my
birthday.
birthday.
How did you celebrate your birthday here in Manila?
Um, well, it was still MECQ, so I avoided every situation to go home, to go outside. So I just stayed at home. Me and Tim, we watched some of the movies that we had. We ate so much cake. I actually got a cake from Offshore, which was so nice. But I got like two more cakes from other people, amazing people, and I'm trying to keep my physique, but I just I let go of myself and I ate
Hey,
so much cake.
it's your
Yeah.
birthday, so you are entitled to eat as much cake as you want.
Yes, I'm kind of subconsciously telling myself all this time, like, I can eat cake Don't limit yourself, Anna. Yeah, but it's all there. It's still there in the fridge. But yeah,
It's
that's
funny, like
my
celebrating these things during the pandemic, right? It makes
yeah,
you really rethink the way we used to celebrate our birthdays,
yeah,
or even special occasions like an anniversary or a family reunion, which you can't do nowadays, right? It
yeah,
makes you really rethink how to mark the passage of another year.
yeah.
And
Exactly.
and eating cake is always a good way to
Yeah.
mark a passage of the year.
Yeah, I had the little taste test because I had a lot of cake. So I actually like being home. I'm I'm more of an indoor person than going out and have fun and like have a blast. I used to do that, but I guess like I just don't anymore at this point. Yeah, but I had a really amazing, very chill day, and I think that was one of my best birthday. Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, a lot of people are, singing the blues over, oh no, it's my birthday, it's another
Yeah.
pandemic birthday. And really, if you spend it with somebody you love, then
Mhm.
really that's all you need.
Yeah. It's
And
really it.
it's funny now that like I used to, like going out all the time. I still
Yeah.
do actually. And I find that when we're under MECQ or another lockdown, I really want to go out because somebody's telling me I can't go out. So
Yeah.
all the more I want to go out.
Yeah. I'm
And
like,
when
I
nobody's
will go out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and when nobody's telling you to stay home, oh, I'll stay
Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
So it's kind
That's
of the
true.
opposite.
That's true. Yeah. When
So
we get limited. Yeah.
how long have you been back in Manila?
I came back here early June. So do the math, do the math. Maybe 3 months already. Yeah. It's been a roller coaster. But yeah, it's a new, what do you call it, environment again. Yeah, starting over again. Yeah, it's been tough, but like it's been a really good learning and kind of gave me an opportunity to be more independent at home because you can't really have people around you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
true.
so
So
it's
good.
it's yeah.
I'm glad you're enjoying your time back home, back here in Manila, and I'm glad that we
Mhm.
actually spent some time at your photo shoot. Because
Yes,
I was her safety officer for her photo shoot for the next
very good
album,
safety
and
officer.
it was kind of funny because like the way we met, it was on the show,
Yeah,
and it's funny when I'm on safety officer mode, I'm a completely different person. Like I'm very
yeah,
strict. I'm very
yeah,
and it just took some time for them to realize that hey, okay, that's a different Jamie right now. He's in a different
yeah.
mode. But yeah,
It is.
I'm just glad to see at least a snippet of your, that one day, just to see some parts of your creative process. It's
Hmm.
actually quite amazing watching you work because you have very specific ideas about your looks. We can see all your photographs, all the promo photographs that you've been posting,
Yeah.
even from the first album, and they're very unique looks, even with your videos. And I've always been curious on how you actually um, create those. What
Uh huh.
ideas get into your head and how you execute it. So it was nice to be a little fly on the wall watching
Yeah.
this photo shoot happen because you have very specific ideas, and yet
Yeah.
you are you are collaborative enough to actually let your team make suggestions,
Yeah.
modify certain things. But how do you get these ideas for these specific looks that you have?
Well, I I kind of I have my own vision when it comes to, and I have a really specific vision when I'm working with these creative people. But I also really respect their kind of creative wings, and I think the most important thing to kind of let yourself go with the creativeness is just really trust the team. And I have an amazing team that I can trust. I love their idea, and I always try my best to not to be, you know, not to have that expectation in my head. It's always open minded, and I think that's where we kind of adjust. Like in the photo shoot, we only had few meetings about the looks, and I'm just like, you know what, it's gonna be fine. Let's just figure it out. And yeah, we did have like a other what do you call that? We kind of adjusted some looks on the day, and it really worked out. I'm sorry, that was a cat, but
Hi.
hi,
Hello.
say hi. There's a cat right there, but anyway, she's so lit. Anyways, yeah. So it's really about trusting the artistry of each people, because I really I wanted to work with them because of their artistry, and if they're just doing what I like, what's the point, right? So it's really having an open mind, that you know state, and just enjoy making these creative ideas. And yeah, we were able to do that. So
And in the middle of like the photo shoot when things were being adjusted on the day of,
yeah,
um we had a few happy accidents, like, hey, that position of that light looked really good,
yeah,
even if it wasn't on the peg. So all these little happy accidents can only basically happen because you trust your team,
yeah,
and at the same time, people are on the same page, but bringing what the talents they have, the creativity they have, to the same page. The makeup artist, the hair, them
yeah,
alone, my god, you would walk out of the dressing room, you're like, wow, who's this? You've been completely
yeah.
transformed, you know
I was asking asking my team, like, what have you done to my face? This is amazing. This is I don't I feel so because it wasn't something that I was expecting, or I had this specific vision in mind. I really tried my best to kind of have the theme, have some sort of boundaries with that, but also let them do what they think is right, because they're the professionals, right? So it was really fun, and I guess like the happy accident mindset, it's really like Bob Ross, 101. It's just really something that artists should value, because I really tend to become a perfectionist when it comes to like art in general. I just cannot stand like all of the things, and I just try to learn um to relax and just take in some of the mistakes. Could be some it's meant to be, so. And yeah, that's where we could talk about 10 years and 20 years ahead. We'll be like, oh, there was an accident, remember? And we could have like a really fun conversation about that. So yeah, it's happy accidents is like one of the key for creativity, I think, for me.
and I
Yeah.
think it's also creating that atmosphere where you're allowed to make those happy accidents.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. And honestly, I'm very blessed with all the amazing people that are very open-minded, and also very very fun people that I worked with. And we're just like going with the flow. And I'm blessed the fact that we were able to do that in this circumstance. Yeah.
I think one of the most interesting times in the photo shoot, when I think you're on your third or fourth set,
Yeah.
and we were looking at the monitor, and we were choosing, okay, which one do you like? Okay, Audrey,
Yeah.
which one do you like? And we all had different opinions
Yeah.
because they were all so good that we were all like, oh wait, I
Oh,
really like that. No, I really like that. I like this one. But it was funny because you had the people all involved in with their opinions and also their
yeah.
craft.
Yeah.
And it was interesting to see that we all had different opinions, but we all loved everything.
Yeah, that was so amazing. Thank you guys for, looking at some of the monitors. I think that's where we could really enjoy, we have different types of, I guess, likes and dislikes, but at the same time, like, we put in the quality. And, one of some of the people that I work with, they're legends. They're amazing. So we loved everything, and that's a good sign. And yeah, I want to go back to that shoot. It's so amazing.
And I think what was amazing also, in particular, with an artist like you, it's something completely unexpected. The professionals that we had on that shoot belong to other industries,
Yeah,
where the client would be, they would give such a strict brief. It wasn't very creative or out of the box or
yeah,
brave or daring, and you were just there the whole day going, yeah, let's go for it.
Yeah, and it's really nice to hear one of my creative teams saying like, "Oh, I was so tired of doing these boring shoots. I'm so happy that I could just take a break and just do whatever I want." And that makes me so happy because I guess like that's how art is made. It's really not about construction.
Mhm.
That's just a formula. And I'm happy that they had fun because you could see it if they're really creative and they're really passionate about it. And that's one thing that I really wanted to focus on with this shoot. So yeah, I had a blast,
I
and
think
I
in
hope you
terms
did
of
too.
like, oh, I had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Policing everybody, please wear your masks,
yeah.
disinfecting hands, but at the same time, watching this unfold. I always, I always try to keep in mind whenever a creative endeavor is happening. When you're creating art, whether it be theater or music or what have you, or photo shoot or dance, it's like you should know all the rules before you go in,
Hmm.
so you know what rules you can break and what rules you can bend
Yeah,
and what rules that you just okay, we have to stick to this.
yeah,
And without that preparation and without everybody being on the same page, not just with what you said, like the formula, right? There is a certain formula in how you're going to work,
yeah.
but it's also when people's passions take over
Hmm.
and the formula just goes out the window, and that's when you see brilliant things happening.
Yeah,
And I think that was a great environment to work in.
yeah,
um and people in that photo shoot were just so passionate about what they were doing, getting that one curl
yeah,
of your hair correct, putting on, zhuzhing the dress so it's perfect.
yeah.
It wasn't even tiring in a
Hmm.
sense, because some
Yeah,
some environments, whether you can just spend an hour in an environment that's so controlling, it can be exhausting.
yeah.
We didn't want it to end. All of us were just so excited. Do we have something else for another look? We were doing that at the
Yeah,
end.
yeah. And it was such a great experience to have. And I guess like it was really refreshing. They're very skillful people. They are very professional people that I worked with, and they know what they're doing. So I'm so happy to see them just going like, okay, wait, we should do this. This is kind of cool too. And all those suggestions coming from their skillful background and all of the shoots that they've done. It's I had a realization of how professional they are and how talented they are, and also we just really had fun. We just did what we really wanted. And it's nice to see their passion through my looks and art that I'm playing. And yeah, it was a blast.
There was actually a moment there, and I've always been curious about that because as the artist, and it's
Yeah,
your concepts, it's your ideas, but at the end of the day, you sort of have to surrender yourself because you're not putting on your makeup yourself. It's somebody else.
yeah.
Somebody else is doing your wardrobe on how you wear it, how it falls, how the fabric, moves, etc., etc. There's a
Yeah.
sense of surrender. I think
Hmm.
when you're in that makeup chair, I hate sitting in the makeup chair.
Hmm.
I'm very impatient, so I feel like I should be doing something else instead of sitting down in makeup. The longest
I
I've
see.
ever, the longest I've ever spent in makeup was like 3.5 hours because they had to make my hair into a big, colorful mohawk. So
Oh,
they had to put like a steel structure inside, and tie it to my
now
head,
that
pin
takes
it.
a long time. Yeah.
It took forever. I was dying. I was dying because like
Oh my.
I've been in this chair for 3.5 hours and I'm not done
Yeah.
yet. My face isn't even done. That's just hair,
Oh
right?
my.
But that sense of surrender and
Yeah.
letting people who are professionals, who are artists in their own right,
Yeah.
have their way with you
Yeah.
is something that is scary but also exciting because you don't know how you're going to look at the end of the
Yeah.
3.5 hours you're in the chair.
Hmm.
And then after, and that's just preparation. So
Yeah.
when you're spending that much time in the makeup chair or in the wardrobe, and these are the things that we never see. We always see the finished product as
Hmm.
the fans or the consumers. We never see the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So when after so that how many hours you have being prepared, you actually as the artist have to go out there and convey the emotion you want wearing new hair, a new face,
Yeah.
new clothes. You actually have to even perform in a
Yeah.
sense in front of the camera. How difficult is that coming from the sense of surrender into all of a sudden, wait, I'm in front of
Well,
the camera.
I guess as I said, it's pretty much comes with your trust with your team. You know, if you're a fan of their artwork, you know, if you're buying their artwork, for example, as a painter, you like it, even though you know it's a different emotion that you have because you're a fan of them. But also, I guess like I have that, I guess, a slight fear of, okay, is this going to turn out a complete disaster, or is this gonna turn out the look, right?
Yeah.
And I guess like in the process, I have some, you know, oh, is this the right one? But of course, they're not done, so I'm trusting their process, you know. Okay, this might be, you know, tied up, or this might be you know. And when the finished product comes, I guess it is hard when you're really not a fan of them, but they really, I guess it's really about getting a good team of people that you really love. And i I definitely love them because they really understood my vision, they knew my boundaries, you know. So they didn't cross that, but they kind of pushed it a little bit from my comfort zone. And that's really interesting because if I was the one who was creating these looks, and okay, this is how it's going to look like, it's pretty much what I could, you know, I could pretty much do. But they had more ideas about how my hair will look and how my makeup will look. So I guess it's really about trusting and just don't be impatient, because you know they're sometimes just not done. So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah.
I'm naturally impatient. So sitting down
Yeah.
and not
I
doing
mean,
anything, I'm like,
three
I should be doing
hours
something else.
3 hours pretty long, you know. I don't think I've ever sit down with a makeup. Again, my makeup artist Slow, if you're watching this, hi. Slow is one of the talented makeup artists here in the Philippines. She's so quick at changing, she's so quick at doing makeup. I think she only does makeup for my shoes like 30 minutes to 45, and that's pretty much it. So I'm grateful that she's very fast worker. But 3 hours, man, that's long. Yeah.
After we're done with this episode, I'm going to send you the photo of the finished
Yes.
product, and then you will
Yes.
understand why it took them 3.5
I'm so
hours.
excited to see that photo. It has to be worth 3 hours.
It
Oh, it
actually
was.
was, and
Okay.
then I had to go and perform after the 3.5 hours
Oh
with
my.
a huge mohawk, and I had to learn
That's
how to move
awesome
in it.
though.
I had to
That's
learn
so
how to move
awesome
in it.
though. I
I
I would love to have a mohawk. Like that's one of my dream hair. I mean, I know that, you know, it's crazy hair, but like why not, right? It's like I want to try at least once in my life to become a mohawk, like 3 meters, like just like that. Yeah.
Mohawks are fun, except that after I was done in the makeup chair and then I
Oh
got into
no.
costume and I
Yeah.
had to go onto the set because we were filming a play that's going to be streamed
Yeah.
later this year. They didn't realize that the mohawk would be that high, and I'm a tall guy. So going through the
No.
entrance of the set, I had to kind of duck
Oh
because
no.
because it wouldn't fit.
Oh
And
my
this is
goodness.
and this is when you learn how to move in these things. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure, like if you had to perform wearing
Yeah.
what you wore at the photo shoot, because it's
Yeah.
a very different element.
Yeah.
Having to perform and sing and be in front of an audience wearing that, you have to learn how to move in these things
Yeah.
and to see if you can even move in these things.
Yeah.
You know,
That's true.
but
That's crazy. Oh
it's
my.
but then I that's all the effort and all the energy that goes into doing your art, doing what we
Yeah.
love to do, and we're so lucky we're able to do what we love to do,
Yeah.
even if you have to spend 3.5 hours in a makeup chair doing your hair,
Yeah.
right? That's just the price you have to pay.
Yeah.
And it's funny because when we were playing a lot of music during the photo shoot and all that,
Uh-huh.
It was funny how the atmosphere was so it was so conducive to, I would
Okay.
say, discovery,
Uh-huh.
discovering what we could do on that day of. And it's no trick, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are watching, um doing a shoot during this pandemic, right? It's the controls are even tighter because you have a
Mm-hmm.
certain amount of hours. You can
Yeah.
only work a certain amount of hours. You have certain
Yeah.
conditions. We need ventilation, etc., etc., to make sure everybody's safe and all that.
Yeah.
So it's very rare that you have an atmosphere like that was just so creative, and we
Mm-hmm.
finished within our hours, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
That was amazing for me. I think we
Thanks
even
to
finished a little
you
early.
for saving our lives by
No.
spraying every single thing that we touch. I mean, the honestly, I didn't really know what it goes through, safety officer and how how it works, because that was my first time shooting during the pandemic. I mean, like who had that opportunity? And I was so surprised that you were there early. You were spraying this pink spray that looks so like it looks like a really like a huge gun that's from like 2048. Like it's crazy. And honestly, having that safety precautions and having people making sure that people are not sick and uh, feels great, and having that very few amount of people inside, it was a really strict one, but at the same time, I guess that's where we kind of got to bond safely within the 2 meter
Yeah.
space. Yeah, but we had a really blast, and a good thing that you were there to save our
Oh,
lives.
I
Yeah.
was just happy. I was happy to be there. It's funny being a safety officer. You have to support
Yeah.
um, the creative industries that we work in. I mean, I work in film, I work in television,
Yeah.
but my mandate is being, to keep people safe. But you also have to be sort of creative in terms of dealing with, because it's not by the book. There is a book that we follow, there is a manual that we follow, there are guidelines
Yeah.
and protocols we follow, but you have to also support the creativity on the set. So I
Mm-hmm.
think that's what's really important, because I can impose all the strictest security and safety measures for you, but then you won't be able to move.
Yeah.
So then the photographs you're going to be able to take, or the film that we're shooting, isn't going to be as good as it should be. So I think that's where the balance is also, that you have to
Mm-hmm.
be sort of creative in terms of what you can allow, what you can't allow. And
Yeah.
since you're working with human beings, everybody has a different temperament, everybody has a different process, so you have to be
Yeah.
accepting also of that process, which I think, in a nutshell, that one day we spent in the studio was a case study on, safe creativity. i would like
Mm.
to I would like to
Yes.
put it down.
That's amazing. And it's really nice that, it's about safety, of course. That's number one, but understanding these situations that we have. That's really awesome coming from you, Jamie. And, the fact that you are supporting the creative industry when we need it very, very much. So,
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Thank
I was
you.
just really happy to be there. Now,
Yeah.
what's exciting now is that your new album is dropping at midnight,
A
and
single. Yeah.
yeah,
Single.
a single is dropping at midnight, and it's nice to be able to actually, I'll be able to hear what we were shooting for, where
Yeah.
you see the visual first, and I'm like, now I get the song and I can put it together, right?
Yeah.
So Bleeding Hearts is dropping tonight at midnight,
Yes.
and I want to talk a little bit about what the song is about, but then just the title alone, why the
Yeah.
question mark? There's a question mark.
Yeah. So this whole song, "Oh Bleeding Hearts," I actually wrote it before the pandemic happened. I think it was like right around I was releasing an EP before. Um and I had this beat that we produced together with Tim. But this song kind of became more and more personal to me as I started writing. This song is actually about, it's hard to kind of construct what this song's about, because every people that listens to this song, they have a different opinion. But for me, it was it was always a question to me how I could contribute to whatever society that I want to contribute. The world is falling apart, and I'm just a musician writing. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a politician. I can't do much of anything but write songs. And I just there are some times that I felt kind of dumb, the fact that who cares about musicians in the first place. And um I was always questioning myself what I could do to kind of help. And I guess one thing that um it came to my mind was how ignorant I was when it comes to all of the things that it's happening in the world. I was almost like, oh, ignorance is bliss. I didn't want to know all of this because it's negative. But it's a very important thing to know about. You have to source different important things in a different way. Not everything is true, of course, but the
Hmm.
fact that I have this all social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and I didn't know a single thing what people were feeling. And as an emotional writer, that's like, it doesn't make sense to me. It didn't really make sense, the fact that I had so much questions. And I guess it came to the song as like a frustration, and also like just not knowing what I can do, because I'm such a hypocrite sometimes. I want to help, but also I don't know what to do, and I want to know, but I don't want to know too.
Hmm.
Those emotions combined, I guess that was like, I'm just like, rant. Yeah, so I was like, I don't like this. Oh, bleeding hearts. And I guess the question was, it will always be a question to me, what I can do to support. But I guess for the song, the important thing that I really remembered was, you know, asking questions already a step, you know.
Yes.
And I think, why is this happening? Why do I feel this way? Why is my, toilet paper bad? Because you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Those things. It's really something that I always question, and I'm like an annoying 10-year-old that's asking mom, like, what does the earth mean, and what's the tree does, like, that thing. So I guess starting from asking questions is already enough for people to just one step to figure out how we could live in the
Well,
future. So
I
yeah.
think I think asking the question is the first step to getting any answers that you might either want or not want to hear.
Hmm.
I think it's also about asking better questions. Like, I
Hmm.
know people who are very, very wise, and some of the wisest people I know don't know everything. They just know the right questions to ask.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important that, in terms of, yeah, we have so much information going on. We have all the social media, we have the world
Yeah.
at our fingertips.
Yeah.
But it really depends on how you use these tools.
Yeah.
Whether are you a person who will just post and post and post and not read, right? Because that's a
Yeah.
bubble on its own. That's a bubble on
Yeah.
its own. Nothing's getting in. You're just, giving out. And
Yeah.
then there are people who will just read and read and read and not post. So
Mm.
I think a balance is very important in terms of asking the right questions and what do you do with the answers that you get from these questions.
Yeah.
And I think
That's true.
creating music, Anna, uh, creating music, especially in this time of the pandemic, especially when the world is falling apart, is extremely, extremely important. Because
Oh.
when the lockdown happened, when this pandemic happened, what did people turn to? People turned to art
Yeah.
because we had to survive emotionally. We had to escape or forget
Yeah.
or find a reason to continue towards the next day. And me
Mm.
personally, it's funny because as a musical theater actor, and I would have back to back shows throughout the year. I rarely, this is pre pandemic, of course. I
Yeah.
would rarely have time to actually sit down and just listen to music because I had to learn the next songs of the next show.
Yeah.
So I would be confined to that. When this pandemic happened and I had no shows happening, I turned to music. and the discovery of new music. It's not just going back to your old playlists.
Yeah.
It's it's going randomly, okay, let's listen to this guy, let's listen to this guy, and opening yourself up and going
Mm-hmm.
outside of your comfort zone. And that actually helped me survive.
Mm.
Yes, we have a comment. We have a comment here from Chessie.
Chessa.
Yeah, Chessa. For
Hi,
me,
Chessa.
musicians are also essential in this time. Yes, I couldn't agree with you more. We are essential. Your music is what keeps us all sane. I like the AAAAANE. I listen to music whenever I feel exhausted and tired. It helps me a lot. I'm thankful that
Aw.
artists like you are not stopping and creating music. Please don't think that you don't have your share in this pandemic. I couldn't agree
Aw.
with you more.
That is so
because
nice.
because basically, yeah,
Yeah.
music has helped us, stay sane, stay focused, stay inspired.
Yeah.
And even the simplest thing is when you hear a new track, or you discover a new artist, and you feel something from that artist, it
Mm.
gives you the energy, or it gives you the another reason to get on with facing tomorrow, facing whatever
Mm.
tomorrow may bring.
Yeah.
And within the lockdown, especially with the whole world falling apart, as you put it, finding a reason to smile was actually quite difficult in the especially also today, because we're still in this. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? In the beginning, we were all panicking, and music was the one that basically saved a lot of people. So please don't think that you are not contributing. You are a very, very important
Thank you
factor
so much.
in
Yeah.
people surviving this pandemic. Okay, we have a
Oh.
question here from Ellie,
Yes.
and it's a very specific question because he's a musician.
Mm.
Oh, Bleeding Hearts is world beat vibes, specifically African. Is this deliberate? And what
Ooh.
inspired this song? That's a very you did mention that you had a beat, right? It's very
Hmm.
specifically African, in Ellie's opinion.
I
And
think
so
he's
how
talking
did
about the bridge part when I have a vocal production. It almost sounds like a traditional African chant, but I actually didn't really think of much of anything. I just really thought that would sound good. And I guess it kind of relate to the world sound because of course I'm talking about the world. And um I'm very a fan of, and I think people already know, I'm a fan of vocal productions a lot.
Mhm.
I add, oh my gosh, it annoys my mix and master guy all the time because it there's so many tracks and he had to mash everything together. But I guess in that part I just really had like I actually changed the syllable. I had this a little vocal production chant that I had in the bridge part, but I changed the syllable a little bit, and probably that's why it kind of gave that
That African feel.
yeah. But I didn't really have much intention of like, oh, I want to go for this African sound. It wasn't like that. It was probably a happy coincidence again. Yeah. And I'm very a fan of world music, and probably there where that inspired, it was a natural for me to kind of get it into my song. Yeah.
Talking about your vocal productions, it's funny because when I visited Crow's Nest, we were listening to some of your tracks there. I got a sneak peek, and I saw how many tracks you do
It will
vocally.
give you nightmares for sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I can imagine mixing it, right? But
Like
but
oh my
how do
gosh.
you like? How do you? What's your creative process like in terms of a song when you're doing production, when you're doing vocal production tracks?
Yeah.
Like you obviously harmonize with yourself. You're doing all these harmonies,
Yeah.
and you won't. Of course, you're hearing this all in your head first before it actually gets out.
Yeah.
What's that? Because me personally, as a singer, I suck at harmonies. I can't do harmonies, or it takes me months to learn harmonies. But doing the vocal productions that you do, whether it be changing a syllable or micro adjusting for the harmony, how does that begin with you? That's part of your creative process, and that's present in almost all your tracks
Yeah.
in that sense. How does that start with you?
I think it's really funny because I have so many ideas. Like it's a privilege to have ideas, but I have a lot of them for one song. I tend to kind of pile up a lot of ideas, and that's sometimes not gonna work because sometimes keeping that I guess blank space is also going to give people breaks and a little fresh breathing moment. But I guess how the whole vocal thing started, because I didn't have a technology thing for vocoder, and I always kind of find a way to make it happen, but also not trying to sound like a whole choir. So I try to do this natural analog vocoder, if you will, and from there it just built on. And I have, I guess, sometimes Tim gets annoyed because I have so much vocal stuff happening there. It's just like, oh, it's we need a break. We need breaks from the vocals. Like we have to take some of out. And we sometimes have it in the mixing session where I have this idea, the whole different idea here, and another whole different idea. And I send both, and we will just choose like when the mixing session happening. So I guess it's a really a blessing to have so much idea. But it kind of naturally came to me because I just didn't have the technology to make vocal sound thick. So I think that's where the whole vocal production came to my
Well,
mind.
I
Yeah.
think it's a more organic way to do it because
Yeah.
it's not a product of technology. It's
Yeah.
you actually singing all the parts.
Yeah.
So I think it's important when I can imagine, and if we get technical here with the sound engineer, because I'm a sound engineer as well, if I sit down and I isolate that in all your harmonies, like if you have like 53 vocal tracks,
Yeah.
right, and you're all singing the same thing, it's not produced by technology, so the emotion is there in
Yeah.
every single track.
Yeah.
So when we hear the finished result, like I'm sure Tim, and we're talking about Timothy Run, who's producing this also. I'm sure when we hear the finished product, all 53 tracks of your vocals
Yeah.
are
It's worth it.
conveying, yeah, because it's conveying, each track has the emotion
Yeah.
that you're singing in. It's
Yeah.
not it's not a copy paste, or it's not an auto tune, or it's not the vocoder. It's not
Yeah.
coming from technology. It's coming from, an actual human being who
Yeah.
is very talented and who can actually sing all these parts. And I think you, with your classical music background, that's helped a lot, I'm sure, with your
Yeah.
separation in terms of, figuring out when to break the harmony, when to add to this, or let's just break the harmony in this last syllable. I'm
Hmm.
sure that comes into play
Yeah.
when you're doing that. Has
I
Tim ever
guess
been so frustrated with you that he's just like, it's too much?
he always say like my file takes up the most because I have so much tracks. And I guess like I've always been a fan of a lot of songs that has a lot of vocal production in it. I guess my one of my goal is to you when you take out all the production, all the everything it's there, you could still feel the song. And you could still listen to the acapella and be happy with it, and it will sound pleasant. That's kind of like the point of vocal production. It's there not to not just to support, but
Mhm.
every element that we put into this vocal production has meaning and has that value to it. So when you take out all the drums, all the synths in it, and if it sounds good, and then that's really my production. And yeah, you mentioned about the classical music background. I think that's one thing that really helped me a lot. I grew up in a very prestige classical studying background. I really study hard, and I love classical music. That was my base all throughout my music career. And yeah, that's where I get probably my harmonies. That's where I kind of detach from classical sometimes too, because if it's too much classical, then we will put a little bit of harmony, like bossa or any type of genre that I'm into. So yeah, thank you for mentioning about the classical
I
background.
think I think the, I
Yeah,
think the, I think the classical music background that you have, it goes back to what I said earlier about you have to know the rules before you can bend them or break them,
yeah,
and that's the best background to have because you're studying the masters. You know,
yeah,
and then you're gonna
yeah.
see, you know what? This sounds. Let's put some bossa nova in the middle of a Mozart.
Yeah.
You know what I
And
mean? That's
I always had that. Like, I studied classical when I was 6, and throughout I was doing really classical piano, and I did some solfege, all of those technical rules and regulations. And when I was 10, I was sick of it. I was like, I'll never do this again. I will never, ever, ever, ever touch a book that will tell me what to do, and then I'm back here again. I love classical, so it's just really like break. You have a love hate relationship with classical. A lot of people have hard time, getting into classical in the first place. But I just really believe that that really set my core knowledge and skill as well, from that rule, so that I know the boundaries of things, I guess, in my opinion. And I could kind of, add into it. I could eliminate some part of it. Yeah, it's a really you'll get more creative freedom when you know some of the stuff in classical. Yeah.
I think it's important also with like in terms of classical music. I've always been resistant, like growing up as a child,
Yeah.
to classical music because musical theater is the exact opposite for that. You know, and I grew up in a family of actors, so it was musical
Mm-hmm.
theater nonstop. And when the few records that arrived in our home
Mm-hmm.
that had classical music, I remember being very turned off by it because it wasn't something I was used to. It was very
That's really
difficult for me
funny.
to listen to until I remember
Yeah.
one specific moment where I was listening to, I think it was particularly Mozart. I forget
Mm,
which piece, right? And I started bursting out in tears because of the sheer, you hear so many instruments happening
yeah.
and they're all working towards pulling that emotion out of you, but in such a majestic way because there's so many
Yeah.
things happening. It's so big. But you're right. If you take out one part, the emotion will still be there.
Yeah.
You're just adding things to enhance and
Yeah.
to support that emotion that the artist wants you to feel or the artist himself is feeling that he
Yeah.
is conveying to you. I think a background in classical music, I think, is what gives you the edge, even if it's a love-hate relationship.
Yeah.
At least you know the rules before you break them, and
Yeah.
that's
And
something I
it
live
does
by.
give you like a I really live by, even, opening up a study classical CD, just to take a listen sometimes, because it's really the base of everything. And I guess like I've learned a lot, so much. Even though I was like, oh, I will never, never, ever. I like pop music. I like punk music. I would listen to that. But the core in my musicality, for sure, that was investing in me. That was, you know, um, that set my artistry in a way. So if anyone that's watching here that wants to get into music, maybe if you want to get to know classic music, I would definitely suggest listening to classical, because that's where everything happened. So yeah,
And that's
yeah,
where people were doing it, without technology.
yeah. They're badass. Like they just do whatever they can with these huge amount of people, and it sounds like they're just one,
Yeah, they're one. I
entire
mean, that's
story.
the talent of the conductor as well,
Yeah, yeah,
guiding everybody through. But then to get that many people working in concert together to
yeah.
create an emotion. Eventually, because music for me is all about the emotion, right?
Right.
It's how it makes you feel.
Yeah.
I've had the good fortune of sitting down. I remember when I went to the Lincoln Center in New York and we were watching an orchestra, and I was like, and I was heavy into punk rock and hard rock, and I'm like, what the hell? Why are we going to watch a friggin', concerto? But it
Yeah.
was free tickets, so I'm like, okay, I'll get dressed and I'll go. And I remember some movements in the piece where I found myself literally rising from the chair.
Yeah.
Like my ass was no longer in my seat because it was just so it was just so powerful, I
Yeah.
think. And then that made me think of how can I take this feeling that I'm having here watching a concerto and translate it to a punk rock band, translate
Mm,
it to a hard rock band, translate it
mm,
into a pop sound.
yeah.
The emotion is always there, but it's
Yeah.
what you do with it. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's amazing that with your background and doing what you do now,
Hmm.
that's what makes you one of the more interesting artists that are coming out because you have such a unique um, blend of tastes and talents.
Oh, thank
And
you so
uh,
much.
I can't wait for the whole album to be released. But of course, we're
Yeah.
releasing it one by one, which is annoying to me. It's annoying because I have to like live with one new song like
Yeah.
every week.
You just have to survive for like another a month or two with
Yeah, a
that.
month or two
Yeah.
until you get the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like creating an album, just like with your EP, creating an album. I'm more well. I'm of an older generation where singles weren't
A
that
thing.
prioritized. Yeah,
Hmm.
because I would listen to albums in its entirety.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it says for me when I listen to an album in its entirety, that's when you see the journey of what
Yeah.
this artist is trying to say.
Yeah.
So right now, like when your single drops at midnight tonight, "Oh Bleeding Heart," it's gonna be like a teaser for
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. That's
and
true.
and it's difficult because like I said earlier, I'm very impatient. So I'm like I'm gonna ask like Audrey, who's in our background right now, who's
Uh-huh.
from Offshore, like, can you send me the tracks ahead of time?
Can you CC me in the email?
Yeah, I want to hear everything already. But it's very
Yeah.
exciting. It's very exciting because getting to know your process, um,
Yeah.
and how you create, and the big hand in terms of working with your team and Tim as well. Huh? See what I did? That team and Tim, um,
I see what you did
working,
there.
yeah,
Yeah.
working with them, and having other people pretty much. I think it's a distillation of your ideas. Like you said, you
Hmm.
throw a lot of ideas into one track, and
Right.
then you have a producer saying, "Okay, let's save this for this. No, this is too much vocals. Then we do this and all that." You can only do that with somebody you trust impeccably.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, I really fight. I'm a very stubborn person. When it comes to ideas, I fight like there's no tomorrow. It's it's a really good environment. How I make these music, because it's very minimal. I usually work at the house. I don't go somewhere to do it. It's just really here with my cats. And what we have been doing is I always have Tim as a producer. I love his work, and I think the reason why we work really good together is because I really we both have a similar vision for
mhm.
things. He gets me when I am telling things like this. I want to go like that and that. He gets it, and if he's talking to me about it, I'm just like, okay, that's cool. That's awesome. I have an open mind about it, except for like some details. I would just fight. I would just be like, no, you're not
No,
gonna. You
I
could
need
take.
that here.
Yes, you could take my speaker, you could take my PC, but this file I'm gonna keep. Yeah, but I guess like it's very minimal. It's just me and Tim all the time, and we're just back and forth. Sometimes he will send me some stuff, I'll send them stuff, and just like back and forth and back and forth. And sometimes we're doing it in person. We have production session together. I'll just like record on the set, and it's just a really good dynamic, and it's a very, what do you call that, um, open-minded environment. I could say whatever I want. I could put whatever I want. I can delete it anyways. So like that's how we kind of work. And it's cool because I record everything in Crow's Nest. It's offshore studio, and it's a very cozy environment, very personal, and it's very it's not like a really huge studio that will like overwhelm me. It's a very cozy, classy studio, and I sometimes like turn off the lights to kind of like set me in the mood. I sometimes have like a hood on to kind of, sets that intention. And sometimes we kind of change our ideas on in the recording booth. Sometimes we'll just be like, oh, I could sing it like this. Maybe it could be like that. Yeah. And I guess setting that mindset of like, okay, I have to be more like, I have to step back and look at the song. That's just, my favorite part about it. So that's my practice. But yeah, that's kind of how I work usually for songs.
I think that's what's
Very
wonderful
chill.
also about the studio in Crow's Nest is very homey. It's not intimidating at
Yes.
all.
Yeah.
It well, it's literally in somebody's house, so you are in somebody's house.
Yeah.
But it's an atmosphere that's conducive to creativity. It's not. I've
Yeah.
been to a lot of studios where it's all business. We started this hour, we ended this hour.
Yeah.
Lunch is like this, and this is what we're doing now. We're tracking this, etc. It's all business, and
Hmm.
sometimes that atmosphere is not conducive to what we were talking about to make the happy accidents,
Yeah.
or creating an atmosphere where you can step back and say, "Hey, I can sing it like this," and that's
Yeah.
such an important moment, especially for the artist in front of the microphone in the booth, where
Agree.
you're not feeling pressured to just get things done, but how to do things better or seeing a different way to do it. And it's all about the space that you're in. That's
Hmm.
also what's very difficult about these pandemic times, because essentially during these lockdowns, we're all trapped in our spaces,
Yeah.
in our four walls. So we've had to create a sense of um, I guess a place you can work in and live in and have fun in and be serious in, all within the same four walls, because your space isn't changing. So
Yeah.
it's very, I think it's very important that as an artist, especially a recording artist, it's the same thing with theater.
Yeah.
Everything is dependent on the stage that you're actually on and the space that
Yeah.
you're working in. And
Yeah. Agree.
if the space isn't conducive, then it's going to be just work.
It's going to sound like a robot. Like
Yeah, and you don't want to
just
do
yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You don't want to do that.
And I'm very lucky to have such an environment that I could just really be myself, really chill, and because that I think that's the important part when you're recording. I sometimes get stiff because you want to get that amazing take, but amazing take only comes when you're uncomfortable. You're
Yeah.
comfortable, and
Yeah.
but it has that sense of a little what do you call that, professionalism,
Yeah.
especially it's very clean and it's very sleek, and that's a little uncomfortableness is I think it's essential, and uh, other than that you should have like a space to have fun, have to be comfortable, get some food maybe. Yeah. So I'm very blessed with the environment that I'm in.
Well,
Yeah.
I can't wait to hear your single when it drops tonight, and I can't wait to hear the rest of the album. I'm
Yeah.
very impatient, as I've said, so this is gonna be me hanging on to for the next few weeks as well. At least until
Yeah.
midnight, I'll get one song down.
Yeah. You should
So
have a
Anna,
monk hop by then. Yeah.
oh my God, I have to send you that
Yeah.
picture. I
Yeah.
really have to send you the picture. So Anna, can you walk us through what your day? What's an average day in the life of
Hmm.
ena mori?
Quarantine edition. Um.
That's right, a quarantine edition.
Actually, I do the same thing as I think every person in this earth do. But what I do, I wake up, I feed the cats, And I love journaling. I think that's one thing that I've been passionate about for almost maybe 3 years, 4 years. I've been journaling since I write my emotions. Sometimes I kind of like look back to get some inspiration from the song, but I kind of reflect to what day that I am in and what day that I want to, have, what kind of day I want to have. So I journal. I sometimes do like a scrapbooking. That was my thing when I was a kid. I like scrapbooks and stuff, like pictures, stuff like that. And after that, probably I'll go to my laptop, try to see what I can do with this demo that I have. Because I have so much demos, like snippets, like 15 seconds demos that I'm like packed with in my voice memo. I have to like kind of get a snippet of those and be like, okay, this might work. Okay, this is totally trash. I will, throw it out. It's all about scrolling and then like, okay, this is kind of I can work with this. And sometimes I try to record like one solid demo that I could be happy about. I sometimes go through all the demos. I make one and I totally hate it the next day. So it's really depends on the day and the flow and what I really like or not. But I guess every day is like a trial and error. It's really just trying to make something. And sometimes I just don't feel like writing songs. I just don't. I don't want to do anything with music. So sometimes I'll just go through. I sometimes paint. There are my like
Hmm.
paintings. I'm not good. It's just beginner paintings, but I guess it's emotions. Yeah. So, and right now, I fun fact. A lot of people don't know this, but I don't know how to play the guitar until
What?
um
Really?
yeah, I didn't know how to play the guitar my whole life. But I started guitar lessons when I was in quarantine. So I have my guitar there. Oh, there.
Yeah.
Oh, there. There. Yeah. So I'm starting to learn step by step. A lot of people assume that I can play the guitar, but that's really funny. I'm a keyboardist my entire life. I never touch the guitar because that was like a forbidden thing when I was a kid. I
Yeah, and
couldn't
you're
really,
on, yeah, you're on the
yeah,
piano. That's a totally
because
different discipline with your fingers.
exactly. And then, like I always had very, what do you call that, I admired people that are more string players, like guitar, violin. Those are the things that I cannot, touch or do. So I let myself go. I kind of got a guitar and I'm trying to learn more guitar. So don't make fun of me, guys. Like it's just very basic. And then sometimes it sounds like it's stringy because like I'm not pushing it too hard. It's really bad. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
but
I'm
that's
trying to
that's
learn
but that's
guitar. Yeah.
that's the learning process. So
Yeah.
eventually, if you attack the guitar,
Yeah.
now that you have a chance to actually pick up a stringed instrument,
Yeah.
um, that's gonna change. That's gonna be the next album.
Yeah,
You know what
and
I mean?
honestly, that's really my goal. Is that I've been writing songs through the keys, and it's really different writing songs with your keyboard or piano, or with your guitar, because it's really it like how you will play in the keyboard. It
Yeah,
has it has so much keys that you could make melodies with, but you wouldn't have that I call it guitar chords,
hmm,
but you know those chords that sounds really good just for the guitar and not in the keys. I
yeah,
don't know if you guys know that, but I call it guitar chords. That sounds good. Some of those guitar chords really gives you inspiration. Like, okay, I could probably throw out some melodies like this, and I think that's my goal for writing. Just to up my songwriting game. I would love to write a song on the guitar. That would be cool.
well, you're
Yeah.
on your way. You're on your way.
Yeah, I'm getting there. I'm gonna be. I always say I will be Santana when I'm done. you know,
That's a really good peg to have, man. Santana's
it's
a
just a
really
boy
good.
Santana, but like, yeah, I'll become a Santana. I will become every guitar player that's famous. Yeah, but that was my goal. Yeah, I will definitely try to write songs from there.
I think that's fantastic that you're switching between two very different musical instrument disciplines. But
Yeah,
also in terms of like your journaling and your painting as well, those are primarily visual mediums. So when you want to
yeah,
take a break from your instrument, you're still expressing yourself in your painting. I can't see that painting from very far away.
yeah.
um
That's just that. That was like a I think that was a collaborative painting from Tim. Uh, Me and Tim did like a collaborative painting together, and it kind of looks very chaotic. But
that's actually,
since
it's actually pretty cool.
yeah,
Like
I mean, I
I
just
just
have it there.
enlarged my screen. I enlarged my screen right now so I can see it better.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty damn cool, man.
Thank you so much. I think it looks good because there's branches on it or something. Like it's just like there. But I love painting. That's sort of like my way of expressing. For me, paintings kind of give me a sense of like, okay, I don't have to be good. I don't have to be, the whole egotistic way of expressing my art. I could just paint, and that's what I like about them, because sometimes music, that's your work, so
Yeah.
sometimes you have that caught up sense. But
I think that's interesting
yeah,
because when you're shifting to painting, or it's a medium that you're not particularly like known for, or there's no pressure. You know what I mean? There's no
yeah,
pressure to create a masterpiece as soon as you pick up a brush.
yeah,
Not like when you're, as a musician and you define yourself as a musician. Um, then there's a little pressure because, like you said, I'm going to make a demo one day, spend all day doing it, and the next day I hate it. That's the normal progression of what you have. But I think a meditative aspect of either journaling or even painting,
yeah.
when you're on your journals, 'cause I've been journaling since I was, wow, a teenager. um
It's
and I
really good.
scrapbook as well, and there's no
Yeah,
real pressure because you're just writing down what you did that day or what you're
yeah.
feeling. There's no
And that
pressure to
kind of
create a
that
masterpiece.
that kind of give me it's like a good cycle, because music is sometimes too personal to me, and sometimes I just want to get out, sometimes I want to have a break from it. I
Yeah.
don't sometimes if it doesn't go the way you want to go, you just get frustrated, and you just like, okay, delete, bye. But I guess like painting and doing journaling and just really reflecting myself and what I really comfortable doing, it just gives me another inspiration. Okay, maybe that melody wasn't that bad. I could maybe do something with this, and then it could just continue. It's kind of like a fuel to me, to get to another idea or music. So I think it's a really good cycle that I have. It's like it's like a mind refreshing moment.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
it's like clearing the slate when you're going,
yeah,
like, from the keyboards or learning how to play the guitar. When you pick up a brush, it's a completely different interaction
yeah,
with a different medium.
yeah,
Or when you pick up a pen and it's like you're talking to your best friend, which is your journal,
yeah,
where you're pouring everything out. And for me,
yeah.
it matters. Like, I find that depending on the pen I pick up, that influences my writing.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what I'm feeling that day, depending on the paper of the journal. I'm so particular about this. I'm such a book person.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. Me too. That I agree with that. Yeah,
I actually have some journals that I haven't touched
yeah.
yet, that a friend brought from
Uh
Japan,
huh.
because
Oh,
the paper in Japan is amazing. I have
yes.
some of them and I feel like, oh my god, it's like walking into a big studio of your dreams. It's like there's too much pressure. I don't want to write it on it yet,
It's
and
like
I've had
you don't
them
want
for
to mess it
years.
up. Yeah,
I don't want to mess it up. It's already pretty as it is. I don't want to write down like whatever crap
yeah.
I'm going through on the day, and I still have him with me.
I get you.
Um, and
I
it's
get you with
funny.
that.
Do
Yeah.
you ever have any moments where you're looking back at your old journals and you wonder what the hell was I thinking of?
Yeah, I was looking at some of the, because I left my journal on 2019 journal, because I went back to Japan for
Yeah.
because to quarantine, And I was looking back to 2019. I was like, wow, I did a lot of stuff. Like I just got so emotional. I was like, wow, like I had so much fun and so much opportunities in 2019. And I look back to the 2020 and I'm just like, wow, I was so messed up. I was so wow, I was so depressed and sad. What happened to me? Like, those things. But it kind of gives you a good laugh. Like for me, it's a good way to kind of brush it off of my problems. Sometimes I look back and I kind of have like this comma where like I draw stuff draw something. I'm just
Yeah.
like, that's so funny, the fact that I was like so serious about this. Or, it's just a really good way to brush off your inner problems before. And sometimes, for me, that's how my journal goes. I kind of like make fun of some stuff that I had written, and I'm just like, what the heck was I thinking? But at the same time, that's real emotions. So, I just feel bad for myself. But at the same time, it's just a really good way to kind of brush off my life, and it's a good way to kind of look back and be like, oh, I have so much great connections with these people. I should, I should reach out to them. Or sometimes I have a picture, as it just reminds me of, okay, like, it humbles me sometimes, like, oh, that was my funnest time, like I should change my mindset. Yeah, so it's a really good relationship I have with journaling. It really excites me every time I write. Yeah.
I think it's exciting when you go back to your old journals, and see the kind what you were going through in that day, in that year,
Yeah.
what your life was like, because you're seeing it as how you are now when you go back to your past journals.
Yeah.
So it's colored by your life now, and
Hmm.
you can't help but compare. Like, when I go back to my old journals, I think like, oh my god, dude, you were so shallow. What the hell? Or is there some times where like, oh my god, I can't believe I wrote that.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. How did I come up with that?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
it could be different from one page to the next, literally
Yeah.
from one page to the next. You
Yeah.
can be a different person, or going through a different thing. And I think it's
Hmm.
important that, journaling gives us a sense. Nowadays it's more, with the social media now, what the record of your days now are your posts.
Yeah.
And for me, it's not the same, because essentially you're typing into an app.
Yeah.
It's not, you don't see the emotion. For me, i love I love seeing people's handwriting, because our handwriting changes depending on what emotions we're going through.
Yeah.
So when, I can tell by my handwriting alone, is that, oh, I was in a hurry, or
Yeah.
oh, I was particularly sad, or oh, I found a new pen and I'm taking it for a ride.
Yeah.
I'm checking out the pen and how it interacts with the paper. I think it's a far more personal way to do it, and it takes the time and the effort. It goes back to when you were saying, like, when you do your vocal productions and you do it via analog and sing it yourself.
Yeah.
It's the same way when you're journaling, is that you're taking down your thoughts, but you're more in the moment, because it's actually your handwriting instead of just your fingertips typing. You're
Yeah.
forming the actual letters instead of pressing a preformed letter.
Hmm.
And I think that alone is a basis for an art form
Yeah.
that, I think I would love. You should have an exhibit of your journals, of course
That would be
edited,
so hilarious.
but that would be right. That would be
Yeah.
amazing to
That would
see
be
the
so funny.
notebooks. When I was,
Yeah.
what amazed me about journaling, what really drove it home for me for journaling. I remember
Yeah.
being in Paris, and we went to, um, Napoleon's tomb, and it was also where they preserved the first drafts of the
Uh-huh.
French Revolution, where
Okay.
they were writing down what kind of democracy they wanted. These students, the students from Les Miserables,
Yeah.
basically, were writing down what kind of democracy they wanted, and they preserved those handwritten pages, not just a
Okay.
formal document, but basically you could see it's like their yellow pad. It's like
Mm.
their scratch paper of putting down their ideas on how
Hmm.
they came up with, liberté, fraternité. You know what I mean? The
Yeah.
what
Yeah. Yeah.
their
Yeah.
democracy want to be about, and to see those actual pages. the draft of the formal document
Mm-hmm.
and to see their ideas. Some things had been scratched out, and no, we shouldn't do that because that pertains to the monarchy, etc., etc. It's such a historical document, but it
Mm-hmm.
was also extremely personal
Yeah.
because it was handwritten by these people who had an idea, who wanted to put it down on paper, and they were discovering the idea as they wrote it down.
Yeah.
So if you have an exhibit of your journals, Anna, we could
That
see
would be
and
fun.
trace back how your ideas would form. And oh,
Yeah.
this led to Oh Bleeding Hearts.
Yeah, you would see that. I have I guess my journal is like that too. Like there's so many lines I cross, and sometimes I put like a embarrassing face. It's like, oh, this is not a good idea. Or yeah, it's a really fun time. And also I think I really suggest a lot of people when you're who's watching here and on the rocks, whoever that feels anxious, or when you wake up in a bad mood, just write it down, some things that you're grateful about. It just really sets the tone. Today I woke up completely in the bad side of my bed. I
Oh
felt
no.
really I didn't feel as good, and probably it's the rain. I don't know what it is, but I wasn't feeling really good about myself, and I wrote down what I'm grateful for, and it just really helps me. And I'm pretty sure that it will help a lot of people as well. So if you guys were into, you don't have to always every day do it. It's really just have something to write
Yeah.
for. Yeah. And
We have
it's
a
nice.
question here from a very good director friend of ours, Judo Obando,
Hi,
on the
Sir
feed.
Juno.
And
Yay.
Juno's asking, how do you see your live stage setup when we can do shows again?
Oh my,
Because I
that's
mean, if you
such.
if we look at your pictorials and your photo shoot and the high concept that you put that in, what would your live stage setup be like?
Ooh. Well, I guess my dream life setup is to really set an atmosphere that really represents me. And I think I did this for as a my EP launch. We dressed up the whole club. We had a hanging art, or we had a light up show. We had the whole painting. I collaborated with one of the talented Filipino artists, Miel. She did
Mm,
a lot of the production design, but it's just to set up that atmosphere that people could just dive in. And I like the that feeling of just a little bit of uncomfortableness when you're just
yeah.
in this place, because it's really setting that a new world in the set. And I think that's what I really like about live setup, and thinking about live setup. you know I want people to feel uncomfortable just a little bit, and be like, what is this, where am I? And that's where the good show starts. And
Yeah.
I really like that part. So I guess like a bunch of stuff that is not on this earth.
I
Yeah,
think I
and it
think
doesn't
I think
feel right
I
sometimes.
think that's a good
Yeah.
way to set the tone of a show is by putting people on the edge where
Yeah.
they're not sure what they're going to expect. And
Yeah.
also, what I particularly like, in terms of like maybe performance art,
Hmm.
where you don't, it's not a traditional theater setting or it's not a
Hmm.
traditional dance setting, where it's performance art and people are interacting with you, where you don't know, okay, there's something expected of me as an audience member. It's not,
Hmm.
it's not sitting there passively just watching
Hmm.
a show. It's being involved in the show, and I
Yeah.
think that's an element that I think would go really, really well in terms of
Yeah.
your artistry. I
Hmm.
can see, with you playing on stage, I could see people doing live performance painting on a
Yeah.
on a big scale,
Yeah.
having audience members climb a scaffolding and painting, and
Yeah.
having that whole painting, that whole panel finished by the end of your song.
Yeah,
You know
that
what
would
I
be
mean?
amazing.
That
Yeah.
would be fantastic with a backlight, and then you'd have a whole
Yeah.
like cans of like colors to choose from,
Yeah.
something like that, and it would
And
be
it's really
completely random. you
Yeah,
know?
and honestly, I guess for my dream live, really live shows, that is with people without a mask, for of if that's possible in like 5 years. But I guess my, what do you call it? My dream live setup is to really have a collaborative live show together with the audience. It's something that I really look for when I'm watching a live show. If I could connect with, not just the music itself, it's an experience, and
Yes.
I want them to participate. I want them to be part of the song, and it's so pretty. I was watching this Paul McCartney show, the whole show that he did in, I think it was in Liverpool, somewhere there. That's really big stage, of course, and everybody was participating. Of course, everybody knows the song, but how they were like crying and they were dancing. They were part of the people that was like going circles, and it's something that it's not just the music, but the music started that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's such a brilliant live show, and that's super inspiring to me. And I hope after this pandemic that would be one of the possibilities that we could explore. Yeah.
Well, I think that's the beauty of it. After this pandemic ends, and when live shows can be done
Yeah.
without too many controls for the safety of people.
Mm.
There will always be an element of safety there, yes,
Yeah.
but I think an involvement of the audience, it
Mm.
almost should seem like either a release or a ritual
Mhm.
that people can actually be a part of instead of just passively watching.
Yeah.
And particularly, I've been to too many concerts where people are either busy taking the video of the concert on their phones, which annoys the hell out of me, because you're like, dude, you're still looking at your phone screen. Look at the
Yeah.
artist, they're right there on stage, right?
Yeah.
And it filters your interaction with
Mm.
the live experience. So
Yeah.
I think after this pandemic, people are going to be looking for that. People are going
Yeah.
to be looking for sort of a communion,
Mm.
where they can be involved and they can participate in something
Yeah.
as a community, as a body of people, not just passively watching. Because if you're passively watching, then we might as well be in our laptops watching a tape performance.
Yeah.
If you're live
That's true.
and you're
Yeah.
participating with the artist and and
Yeah.
and, and the band on stage and the lights and the sound and everybody else inside, that would be an experience that you will
Yeah.
remember for the rest of your life.
And it's really not just your sensory, your ear. That's not the only thing that you'll experience. The lights, the smoke, the smell of the sweat of people just rubbing gross, and like the alcohol that they have or the drink that they have, the very sore foot because you've been walking or you've been standing up for the whole time. Those are the things that will create such an amazing experience, and I think that's what all of us miss. And I just really hope that in a few years we'll be able to do that again. We'll be able to um, give that to people, give back to my fans and whoever that's listening to my music, with that type of live show. Yeah.
Well, it might come sooner than you think, because we, like, specifically me and Juno, we belong to
Yes.
the National Live Events Coalition. So we are actually
Yes.
busy drafting
Hopefully. Yes.
protocols and plans on how to bring
Yes.
live events
I'm
back.
so excited. I'm so excited for
Oh,
the
we
live
gotta
to
do
come.
that. We gotta do that.
Yes.
All right. So this is the part in the show, and where we go into the rundown, where I ask you 10 quick questions,
All right.
and you can answer off the top of your head. They're
Okay.
very simple. They're very simple questions, but then some people have reacted to some of them are very difficult. But
All right.
it all depends on what the first thing that comes to your head. All right.
Okay.
So okay. So the for the very first question, and I know this is difficult, but you just have to choose one. If
Okay.
you had to choose only one, what would be your absolute favorite song in the whole world?
Come on. Come
One
on,
song.
man.
One song.
One
I
song.
know it's tough, but one song. If you had to sing
One
one song for the rest of your
song.
life, what would that song be?
Oh no. Honestly, a cliche, but one song, right?
Yeah.
It got to be Hey Jude by
Nice.
yeah.
Nice
Just
choice.
like I mean, it just makes you happy. You know, every time la, na, 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 the anthem just makes you
Yeah.
happy and just I could go there every day
Yeah, that's
with
true.
that
You can
song.
actually sing that la 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 all day long. You can sing that forever, and
Yeah,
you'll be
and everybody
perfectly okay
knows
with it.
that. Everybody
Yeah,
knows that. So you could sing and I could sing together, and yeah, it's going to be amazing. So, Hey Jude.
that's a
Yeah,
great answer. All right, for the
yeah.
second question, if you had to choose only one, who would be your favorite local Filipino artist or group?
Mm,
I
only
know it's
one.
like choosing from your children, right? You have to choose a favorite of your children, but if you could choose only one off the top of your head,
Oh
who would it
my.
be?
Um, it's a friend of mine, but I really like One Click Straight right now. One Click
Nice,
Straight, the band. They have been doing this very. They have a new era that's very interesting. They're like post punk look with a very. They just have a quality in music, and I'm really a fan of them. So One Click Straight, yeah.
fantastic, great answer. All right, okay. Question number three, Anna, what turns you on?
um, I guess I'm a very big foodie, so um any type of chocolate covered things will be dangerous. Yeah. So chocolate,
Cons- considering you
anything.
considering you
Yeah.
still have a lot of cake in your fridge,
Oh
chocolate.
my. Yeah. I'm still not over it. It's chocolate. Everything that's covered in like really naughty chocolate. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
All
So
right,
yeah.
fantastic. All right, next question. What turns you off?
Oh. Um what turns me off? Um what is it? I had an answer for that, but um what is it? I can't really think of that. I guess like the sound of a stylophone just really
Ah,
gets to me.
when
You
you're
know?
scratching the side. Oh yeah,
Yeah, that was just I was just like thinking about it just gives me like such a rash around me. But yeah, this sound of a stylophone, yeah, it's just not it's just not pleasant. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
It's never. I don't know anybody who enjoys that sound.
It's
It's the
awful.
worst. It's a
Yeah.
weird combination of squeaking and
Yeah,
scratching.
and it
You
just gives
know?
you chills. And my sister's completely fine with that. So she could just hear, those things that I just have to like cover and put earplugs and earphones and headphones all over because it's just awful. Yeah.
Okay, great. Next question. All right. If we were to go into
It's
your
hard.
playlist, if we were to go into your playlist right now, what song is currently playing on repeat on your playlist?
On my playlist.
That's not yours.
Ooh.
That's not yours.
That's not my song,
Yeah, that's not your
right?
song. Yeah.
Ooh. I guess I'm loving. Do you know the band called Low Island?
No.
Low Low Island.
Low Island.
They're very they're a very 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 good band. They're indie. They're not in a label or anything, but they have such an amazing song. And I've been listening to their album. If you could have it all again, it's called if you could have it all again, and that has been on repeat ever since. So Low Island, yeah,
Low Island.
I love
All
it.
right. I'm going to take note of that. I'm going to check them out.
Yeah, they're
All
really
right.
amazing.
Okay, next question. What is your favorite word?
Favorite word? Huh. That's a good question. Favorite word? I guess. Um, what is it? Oh my goodness. I can't even think of a word. I think the word pleasant.
Hmm.
I like the word pleasant. It just gives you that like it's classy, but it's not intimidating, and it's nice. You know, like, oh, this is pleasant. It's like, okay, like it just gives you a good feeling. So I like
Yeah.
the word pleasant. Yeah,
With the word pleasant, it's like you know exactly what you're getting. It
yeah,
gives you, it already sets the mood. Like, oh, it's
yeah,
pleasant.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
It makes you pleasant as well.
yeah, exactly. So I love the word pleasant. Yeah, and
Nice.
that's the first word that came to mind. Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, for a seventh question, what drives you crazy?
Mm.
Crazy
Aside
bad.
from
Aside from the
xylophone,
styrofoam. Yeah,
oh
aside
my
from the
gosh.
styrofoam. What drives you crazy? It could be behavior of other people. It could be an annoying
Oh, I
thing.
have one. Oh, this is just it's not personal to anyone, but it drives me crazy when people say likewise. I hate the word likewise so much. I have no idea why. It's just like I say, thank you so much. I had a really amazing time. Thank you so much for coming, or thank you so much for participating. Likewise. And it's just like it just cuts me off, you know? It's just like, huh? Like that's it? Likewise, that's it? Or like I will see you soon, you know, take care, something, something, something. I'll give all of this compliments and I'm just like likewise. And it just destroys me completely. So I am completely terrified of the word likewise. Yeah.
I
So I
agree
think
because
that
I
yeah.
mean because I can you can actually reply in a more eloquent sense, but I feel like
Yes. And
likewise is such a shortcut. Don't
yeah,
make me
and
think. I'll just say
yeah,
likewise.
exactly. And
It's so
for
lazy.
me, I think likewise it's okay for some countries, you know, it's just fine. Likewise, it's something that it's casual, you know. But for me, I was like, I give you all of this in just one word. Likewise, that's it. Like it just drives me crazy. And even though it's like an email or text or even like a if it's personal, like that's even worse. Like if we're just talking, and he says likewise, I'm just like, okay, sorry, like I didn't do anything wrong. But
And
I guess
of
it's just
course,
me.
Tim Marquez is saying likewise on the comments.
It
I
just
know.
drives me crazy, man. Like it's just something that I'm so
I
so 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 adamant with.
for me it
Yeah.
feels lazy. It feels like a lazy reply.
Yeah.
It's almost passive aggressive,
Yeah, it's like
in a
you could say
sense.
take care too, or
Yeah,
something
or
something
thank you too.
too.
No, hey, yeah,
Yeah, like
you
me
can use other
too.
words.
So me too is fine for
Yeah.
me. Me too is like okay, whatever. But likewise drives me crazy. No, no, no,
Okay,
no.
that is noted.
Yeah,
Noted. All right.
yeah.
Okay. Next question. What would be your one indulgence or guilty pleasure
Ooh.
aside from
Right
chocolate?
now,
Yeah.
right now, my guilty pleasure. Actually, like diving into some of like the cheesiest playlists is kind of like my guilty pleasure. Like dad's old CD type of, you know, very cheesy songs. Sometimes it just gets to me and be like, okay, this is so cool. Like especially like karaoke songs and stuff, you know. Um yeah. Those are my guilty pleasures. I don't know why I get embarrassed by it when someone sees me listening to those, but I guess I really like those songs too. You know, aside
Yeah. I
from the
mean,
artistry and like all the intricate songs with sophisticated stuff, I just like simple songs too. Yeah,
yeah, for me, like a guilty pleasure in terms of like songs, like I have my
yeah.
usual playlists I go to. I've been listening to a lot of Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra, which is my dad's era.
Okay.
But there are just days where, it feels like a Katy Perry day. So
Yeah,
I'm gonna be dancing to Katy Perry,
exactly.
and that is a
Hmm.
guilty pleasure for me because I rarely ever do. But then there's a
Yeah,
day where, okay, today's Justin Timberlake, which is so
yeah.
not me, you
So
know.
not you. Yeah,
But there are some days where you
I
need that.
totally get you. Yeah, I will go to Britney Spears. I will
Yeah.
go to all of these, and also I've been obsessed with Doja Cat lately. She's
Ooh.
so talented and she's so cool. It's not my style, but she's so I just love the new album, and I just love everything about her, and that's like my guilty pleasure, even though I'm not ashamed of it, but I
Yeah.
guess like I just get kind of like secretive when it comes to
Yeah,
those
yeah.
things.
No,
Yeah,
nobody should know I'm listening to this.
yeah, it's just like it's just my time, please ignore. Yeah,
But there are just some days where you need to do that, and it
yeah,
just calls for it, right?
yeah, exactly.
All right,
Yeah.
fantastic. All right, for our ninth question, okay, if you could collaborate with any artist from any time period, living or dead,
Mm.
who would that artist be? Just one.
Ooh, honestly, David Bowie would
Ah,
be a great.
yes, yes.
I would faint if that would be even possible. Like if even I was like in the background, like a background dancer's PA. Like I don't care. I would be there any time of the day to be just around the set of David Bowie and how he works, or even get to know him. That would be so.
Well, can you imagine? Imagine if you were ever in a situation where David Bowie was like, "Hey, let's see what you got, and let's make a song together."
I'd be like,
That
I'm
would
so sorry. Like it's
no,
so it's so scary.
you'd probably faint first, and
Yeah,
then we would have to revive you,
yeah,
and then you'll say what?
yeah. Like what just happened? Where am I? What's my name? I
But
totally like
apparently,
will not.
David Bowie comes in with a very specific set of ideas. I've
Yeah,
been reading biographies recently, and then he is completely ready to throw them all away to see what the band has.
yeah. That's
And
crazy.
I've actually read testimonials of people he's collaborated with over the years, where they're expecting to come in because
Mm,
David Bowie called them, and they're expecting to come in and do the David Bowie thing.
mm.
And there's David Bowie telling them, "No, do your thing, and let's see what happens." And I
That's
think
crazy.
that's right. That's so amazing
Yeah,
because, and imagine the pressure on you because basically, like, okay, I better play
yeah,
something brilliant because David Bowie's asking me to play something,
yeah.
right?
I would faint again in the set, and they have to bring me to the hospital to revive me. So it would be like a double time situation. So that's not a good idea, probably, to have David Bowie. But yeah, honestly, I admire David Bowie's songs. Every album is
And
fantastic.
it's not just his songs, it's how he
Yeah, it's just
reinvents himself,
yeah,
how he presents itself. It's basically the personality comes before,
yeah,
because the music can change and has changed over his
yeah,
entire career. But basically the persona of him
yeah. And it's really
precedes the
just the
music.
he is just one of a kind. That
Amazing.
it's just every move that he does. It's so interesting for everybody because it's just he's so one of a kind, and he's such a rock star. I love him, and hopefully if he's if he's okay with me fainting 2 times in the set, I'm
Then you'll
ready.
write a song. Then you'll write a
Yes,
song.
yeah, I'm ready for that.
All right,
Yeah.
for our last question in the rundown. All right. If you had the power to change the world, what would be the first thing you'd do?
Oh, hmm. Well, I was thinking of like a joke, but like I will go to the serious one. Yeah, but I think for me, education is something that I was so blessed with. Um, and I believe 100% that every human being here in this earth have has should have a chance to learn something, not just by paying to learn something. It's to be learning from people that have experience. It's not about your tuition and all of that. um, if I would to change one thing, I think giving every kids an opportunity to change. That'll be the not to change. Oh my gosh, every opportunity to learn and have an education. That would be a good thing. I think. Yeah,
Yes.
that
I
would
I
be what I would
I
be doing.
completely agree. And
Yeah,
not just for children. Not just for
yeah,
children. I think people of all
everybody.
ages
Yeah,
should be able to go into a a form of education that will either further enhance their existing skills
Yeah.
or existing knowledge, or be able to do something completely different.
Yeah.
Like if you wanna, that's what I love about all these online classes that you can take. Because if
Yeah.
you want to learn how to do carpentry, there's the University of YouTube, and then you're like, wow,
Yeah.
I can
It's
make a
so easy
chair.
now. Yeah.
You know,
You can make a chair.
I can
I
make a
could
chair.
I could make a painting too. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So it's really something that we're actually blessed with. We have the opportunity to, have quick access to education now, but I guess the physical aspects of we still need some work.
yeah.
So
I think
that's
what's
one thing that
integral. I think what's integral in terms of the educational systems around the world, since they're very structured.
yeah.
I think the first thing, and I've been reading about this because I'm a big sci-fi fan, and the movie Dune is coming out. It's one of my favorite.
Oh, yeah,
It's
yeah,
one of
yeah.
my favorite
With the
books in the whole
Timothy
world.
Chalamet. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite books in the whole world.
Oh, I haven't
I've
read the book yet. Yeah.
Oh, I will send you. Since you're
Oh,
here
you
in
will
Manila,
send
I
me
will send you a book.
with
It's a
the picture.
it's a
Yeah.
fantastic read.
Oh,
But
that's
I
cool.
think what the main character that Timothy Chalamet plays, the first thing he learned was how to learn.
Oh,
And I think that's so important. That's kind of overlooked in our
yeah,
educational systems because we're so bombarded by information,
yeah,
and you don't really know what to do with that information,
yeah,
aside from applying it to your tests so you get to
yeah,
your next levels, right? But if you learn how to learn, then you never stop.
yeah.
And I
That's
think that's
true.
so important because no matter what age we are at, or state we are, or stage we are in our lives, if
Mm,
you don't keep on learning, then that's the slow death to being stagnant or being closed minded
hmm.
or being just locked up in your box because you
Yeah,
don't know how to get out of your box.
yeah,
But if you learn how to learn, I think that's going to be a constant, journey towards, whatever you
right.
want to go towards. I think
Yeah,
that's important. But education, that's a great. I totally
yeah,
vote for that. I would vote for you if you ran for
yeah.
office. I would vote for you.
Thank you. Thank you. In 5 years. I'm just
Uh,
kidding.
all right,
Yeah.
let's go for one for the road. Where I'm going to ask you, what words of wisdom or advice would you give to anyone just starting out in music today?
Ooh. Hmm. I think I'm not the legendary, so it's really just coming from my experience. But I've had so much hardship. I went through so much, I guess, learning myself and kind of disliking myself, comparing myself, all of that. It just really comes with it. You can't really avoid it. But for me, one thing that I've learned, not to give up is um, it's who you are as an artist. And not to be cliche, but I guess, like, for me, I try to be an artist that uh, I want to be. I looked up to when I was a kid, and all of those artists were never like really, what do you call that? Really in the main spotlight, if you will. And I've seen that, like, in my collection of albums, and I was just looking through my artists, and I'm just being like, why am I trying to impress everybody with my song? And I guess if you're whoever just listening to this show, I would suggest, try not to inspired, or try not to get everyone's attention because you won't. It's really something that I really learned. Your song is not good because everybody listens to it. It's really not. It's your song is good when the you have an emotion that you had before with an artist that you really love. And that's something that's come from the listener. We could all we can do is to provide what we could write about, or what we feel. And as long as you be yourself, there will be someone that really, 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 really resonate with you. There are so many people in this earth, and now we have internet. We could connect everywhere. So I learned that I will never write a song to impress everybody because I know that I can't, and
Mhm.
I'll just be happy with few people that will really love my song, because that's really the key to you really find your sound and find your inspiration. Yeah, so just don't write a song that will be for everybody, because someone can do that for you. Yeah, so
So
that's yeah, so
so
be
be your,
it.
be yourself. Be yourself. Is that, I think
Yeah,
that's the most important thing because there's nobody else like you.
yeah, and I
Uh,
guess
I,
like if
I,
it's
I
not,
hear I
yeah,
hear a lot of artists who try to, who you can who you can actually hear deliberately trying to sound like somebody,
yeah,
and that is inevitable because of all our influences.
mm-hmm,
As you know, as artists, as musicians, it's either you're paying tribute or an homage to your to the artist that you admire.
mm-hmm,
And I think what's important is when you find your own voice and when you find your own style and you're writing it because you're being yourself.
yeah,
I think that's what makes the art important,
yeah,
because there's nothing else like it. It's
yeah,
you. It's
yeah.
you in a track. It's you in a painting. It's you in a poem. It's you in a dance.
Yeah, and it goes
And
away with the other's perspective. Like, try not to be too creative, because sometimes you're already creative by yourself. There's no one like you. Nobody writes like you, correctly. Like specifically you. Um, as long as you're really authentic and comfortable in your skin and you love what you created, that's already enough creativity. And I guess I learned that in a hard way too, because like I was constructing all of that. Oh, I should put this element, and I should have this hook, and like all of those. It comes with influence, like, oh, this person did this and it's so cool, so I want to try it. And I understand completely. I'm like such a sucker for that. But I guess not losing the grip of who you are is so hard as an artist, but you just have to pursue that. And I think that's like how the journey, the hard journey as an artist, not just to like sell and stuff, like those are
yeah,
come every day, but
yeah,
yeah, just to not lose yourself from what you're doing, because there's no point of doing something that someone can do. Yeah, so
that's true. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anna, for taking the time
thank
tonight.
you for
And thank you
having
for your
me.
words of wisdom and the new knowledge that I've acquired. I'm gonna check out that band you're listening to.
I'll check
And
out the book that you're
yeah, I'm
reading.
gonna send it to you. I'm gonna send it to you. It's a
Yeah, that's
fantastic
awesome.
read. It's a
Yeah,
fantastic read. But thank you so much, and we're all
thank you.
excited to finally hear your new single drop. Oh, Bleeding Hearts is dropping tonight at midnight. That's September 9 on
Hmm.
all major streaming platforms. So thank you
Yes.
so much, Anna. Please stay safe. Take
Thank you
care,
so much, Jamie.
and if you can't finish the cake, I'm always here.
Yeah, let's just ask my stomach, and I'll just have a conference meeting together with my stomach. Yeah, I'm just kidding.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you so
thank you
much,
so much,
Anna.
Jamie.
Take care.
Bye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was a fantastic conversation. I'm actually so glad that we've had her back on the show so we can actually, take the time to discover what this unique artist has to offer. And, it in parts, it was very wise for such a young person. And I'm qualified to say that because I'm an old fogey. And at the same time, funny, at the same time, completely honest. And I think that's just what makes her so unique in this day and age where we have so many things happening, so many, so much music coming out. And I think what sets her apart is that yes, she is completely and utterly being herself and putting herself out there the way she sees herself and the way she wants to convey the emotion in her music. And I think that's so important because that pure honesty and that courage of being yourself in your art is something that we all need right now. So thank you, Anna, for coming on to the show tonight. And I tremendously enjoyed myself, and I will enjoy myself even more. I'm going to stay up until midnight just to see, just to hear your new single drop. That's "Oh Bleeding Hearts," and it'll be available tonight at midnight. That's September 9 on all major streaming platforms. We're going to continue with the announcements from Offshore Music. That's ena mori, of course, tonight. "Oh Bleeding Hearts." That's the first single that's dropping from her new album. I can't wait to hear the whole album. But at midnight tonight, we get to hear this new fresh single from this amazing artist. Also, tomorrow is going to be the Offshore Music 9/9 sale. There's a 50% discount on selected items, so make sure you check out what they have to offer. Also, Anak ng Bayan by Sulo is available on all streaming platforms. This is a kick-ass track from a kick-ass band, so make sure you check it out. Also, Alive at Wildgrass Studios by Extrapolation is out on all streaming platforms as well. It gives that unique live set vibe that they are known for, so make sure to check that out. Thank you so much also to our friends from Buenos Dias Panaderia and Misty Mountain Cafe. Premium blend coffee with Milo buns. Really, what more can you ask for? And of course, our friends from Liquor.ph have an announcement. They have just readjusted their prices permanently. They've readjusted so you can save more money, guys. Imagine Chivas Regal blended scotch is now priced at 1,029 pesos. Tanqueray gin at 699 pesos. And Jack Daniels at 930 bucks. That's just to name a few. No reason to wait and think. Buy it now from the team that truly understands what good liquor is all about. And those are the guys from Liquor.ph. Thank you so much. So, guys, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I'm Jamie Wilson, and I'm reminding you to please stay safe, stay strong, and stay sane. And keep on rocking and keep on rolling. And if all else fails, let the music keep you going. And if you find that life has got you shaken up or stirred, mixed up, or on the rocks, what matters most is that you take your shot. Thank you very much, and good night. Cheers. On the Rocks with Jamie Wilson is brought to you by Offshore Music. Go where the sound takes you.